Should you lift weights to get skinny, or will that just make you bulky? It is the age-old question that I think women have been asking for a really long time. And actually, one of you asked me just recently, so I thought I would do a video on it to tell you my thoughts and my opinion. As someone who aspires to be skinny, but also likes working out and lifting weights, and also as someone who was very skinny and was a model at one point, I know what it takes to lose weight. I know what it takes to be skinny, but I have also had my experience with the bulking effect. So that is what I'm going to talk about today. But before we get started, welcome back to the 1 Year 100 Pounds podcast. My name is Whitney Holcomb, and I'm author of the book 1 Year 100 Pounds. For those of you who are new here, I lost 100 pounds on my own at 14 years old, and I've kept it off now for over 20 years. My book is about my weight loss experience, how I did it and transformed my life, as well as a tough love guide for how you can do it too. So if you are a beginner to weight loss and are interested in reading that, then I will leave the link below to the book in the description below. But back to the topic. So yeah, one of you was asking me about lifting weights and being skinny. She said that she had heard really conflicting information about this, meaning some people were saying like, no, don't lift weights at all because it'll just make you bulky, or other people are like, no, lift weights because it will, help raise your metabolism and will just make you look really sleek and toned. And she's like, then other people are saying, okay, if you're gonna lift weights, then make sure you do low weights, really high repetition. Whereas other people are like, no, you gotta lift heavy. And the age-old fear is, will lifting weights make you look bulky? Because as women, while we might want to look toned or fit, no, we don't want to look manly. Like, we don't want to have too much muscle. So as someone who has probably in the past like 5 years or so, no, more than 5 years now, it's already 2025, damn. Probably maybe the last decade, I guess, I have been working with weights more than ever before, especially now this past month after I've done this workout challenge, which I will share with you guys very soon. I will say that when I first lost weight, I was just a cardio fiend. I still am. I love cardio. I'm a cardio queen. It gets such a bad reputation now. People are all about building muscle and this and that, but cardio is also really good for you. So, that's important to remember. But no, I did not do any kind of weight training when I was losing my weight initially. I might have done like little things like squats and lunges and little circuit workouts here and there, always with very light weights, nothing very serious. It was more just cardio, really. And that was just because that was what I felt comfortable with at the time. I didn't really know much about working out or how to build your physique, and I didn't really even know what I was going for. I just knew that I wanted to lose weight. So the most basic answer to do you need to lift weights to get skinny is no, because I accomplished getting skinny, losing 100 pounds, and then getting very skinny, like model skinny, without doing that. My main form of working out was walking and running. It was cardio. I did everything. I did, on the cycling machine, I did the elliptical. That was my main form of cardio. So again, losing fat, getting skinny, the main things are always going to be, calorie deficit. Cardio can help you get there because again, you burn more calories. You can be easier to get in a calorie deficit, but it's always going to come down to how much you're eating. So if weight loss is your main goal, then I wouldn't even worry so much about, what kind of exercise you're doing, because you can accomplish that with just cardio if that's all you're going for. However, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do weight training and that I don't advise weight training. I love weight training now that I've gotten into it, the past like 5-10 years. But as far as, will it make you bulky? I think that's a little more complicated. I know the very first response most people will say is, no, of course it doesn't make women bulky. It takes a really long time to build up the muscle and, you have to lift really heavy to get there. And this, yes and no. Yes and no. So my experience with lifting weights has for the most part been positive. Just as far as how it makes me feel, for sure, and as far as how it makes me look. So this is the one thing I have definitely realized throughout my years of working out and losing weight, is that cardio can help you lose weight. Cardio is great for you. It helps you burn calories, but cardio does not shape your body. It is not very great for that. Lifting weights, resistance training, is really what you need to do, what you have to do to build any kind of shape in your body, to build any kind of muscle, and to get more of that like fitness model physique that I think a lot of women are going for. I think this is especially true if you have lost a lot of weight. Sometimes what happens when you lose a lot of weight is you lose a lot of muscle mass too, just naturally. And if you didn't already have a lot of muscle mass to begin with, like in my case, because I had never worked out before when I lost all that weight, then you may become, after you lose your weight, like what is known as like the skinny fat, or have loose skin, like I also have. And so that just basically means that while you may be at a healthy weight, you may be like skinny on the scale, even, skinny in your clothing size, you may just still be kind of like, have a little bit shapeless, kind of flabby. And that is just because you don't have muscle tone. So muscle tone is what, like I said, it gives shape to your body. It's what makes you look like tighter and firmer. But there are so many different, genetic factors too that can factor in, like after you lose the weight, like how tight and firm you'll be. But like I said, loose skin is a big issue, but one of them is just muscle tone. So like I said, again, just my experience, I was a marathon runner. I did not notice any difference in my body shape besides weight loss from doing cardio. Cardio, like I said, it's great. I love it. As far as like building a physique, no difference whatsoever. It just helps you stay thin. From doing different resistance training, lifting weights, doing like high intensity stuff, I have noticed a difference in body shape. It does help firm some things up. And I think that is especially important if you have loose skin or if you are like a skinny fat right now. So I am definitely for lifting weights and resistance training, especially if you are someone who has lost a lot of weight and you have loose skin or you are that skinny fat. You kind of have to do that if you hope to achieve a different physique naturally. So I think that's a big thing. Like as far as a question goes, like, do you need to lift weights to get skinny, or can you lift weights and still be skinny? It depends on, number one, where you're starting from. If you are someone who's never been super overweight and maybe you have like a normal body and like you don't have loose skin, then you might not have to really worry about lifting weights because your skin might be naturally tight. You might have had natural like muscle tone from before when you were a kid and, you were in sports team. You might be one of the lucky ones where you can just diet for a few weeks and you're going to look awesome afterward. And if like being muscular or being more fit is not really your goal and you just want to be skinny, then yeah, you don't really need to lift weights. But if you are like me and or you're older, or you are a skinny fat and you have loose skin, then I think you're going to have to lose weights if you want to get the kind of body that you want. As far as, will it make you look bulky? So yes and no. And this is what I mean. I have had the experience of feeling and looking bulky. Actually, even just recently during this Victoria's Secret Model Body Challenge, I kind of felt like I had like a period of that, of like looking bulkier because I was lifting weights literally every single day. So I'm not going to say that it doesn't happen. I know so many people are going to fight me on this. It's like, oh, you do it forever to get bulky. No, you can get bulky pretty quickly, but wait a minute. I'm not saying you're gonna look like a man. I'm not saying that it's because you have so much muscle and it just grew up so quickly. So my experience with being bulky is this. I think So I don't know about you, but after a really tough workout, I get really sore. And as many of you know, recovery is just as important as the workout itself, which is why I invested in a Bob and Brad massage gun years ago, which I totally love. My fiance and I use it all the time. So when Bob and Brad reached out to me to sponsor their new product, the iNeck Pro shoulder and neck massager, I immediately jumped on it because who wouldn't want a free neck and shoulder massager from Bob and Brad, right? And let me tell you, I love this thing. So the iNeck Pro uses advanced 4D kneading technology, which basically means it mimics the feel of a real hand massage on your shoulder. So you're getting a massage that actually feels real. And let me tell you, it really does. I have compared this to another shoulder massager I have. It's not Bob and Brad, it's a different brand. And that one feels okay, but this one definitely feels next level. It has 4 deep tissue massage nodules, which are designed to target the shoulder, the trap, and the neck to help reduce stiffness and pain from working out,
or from hunching over on your desk all day, whatever it is that is causing you soreness. I like that it is totally hands-free and cordless free, so you can just slip it over your shoulders, adjust the strap in the back, and you can do whatever you want, whether you're on a Zoom call or driving in your car, or for me personally, it's when I'm sitting on my laptop editing videos. I also like that it's versatile, so you don't have to use it just on your shoulders. You can use it on your calves if you need to, or anywhere else in your body that is feeling soreness. I also like that it has dual zone heat therapy, so you can control where you want the heat. It goes up to like, I think 110 degrees Fahrenheit. It is 3 different speeds, so if you want something a little bit faster, slower to really get in there, you can control that. And it's super easy to use. There's really no learning curve. You just press the button for what you want, and then you get this awesome shoulder massage. It's also lightweight and really easy to travel with. You can pack it up into a gym bag or into your suitcase. It is way more affordable than getting a weekly massage. Plus, if you use my discount code BobandBradINeck, you will get 10% off your purchase. Just click the link in the video description below to get your own Bob and Brad neck and shoulder massager. I promise you, you will not be disappointed.
Number one, you have to realize like building muscle is awesome, and it does eventually make you look, it can make you look slimmer because it weighs less than fat, meaning like, or it takes up less space than fat, right? So a pound of muscle takes up less space in your body than a pound of fat. So if you have more muscle in your body, you will look leaner than if you have more fat. However, what can happen sometimes though, is that you're working out every single day with all the weights, you will build the muscle, but if you do not lose the fat at the same time, then all you're doing is you're building muscle underneath fat. So it actually can make you look bulky. It makes you look bigger because you have all this muscle now that's giving you this great shape, but you still have all this layer of fat on top of it that now you kind of do just look bigger. And I think that's something that people don't always realize. I think there is this other, it's myth. I say it's not a myth really, but it kind of is the way people perceive it when they say like, oh, muscle burns more calories than fat, and your metabolism is higher when you have more muscle, so you can eat more. So I think people take that to heart. So they think that like, oh, because I lifted some weights today, I can eat more. And I'm burning more calories as I sit. So, this is awesome. So number one, yes, muscle mass does burn more calories at rest than fat does. Like a pound of fat burns like 3 calories per day, right? Versus like a pound of muscle burns like 6 calories per day. So it is a difference. So yes, technically having more muscle on your body means you burn more calories. However, again, it's only a few more calories. And again, if you only are putting on, especially if you're a woman and you can only put on so much muscle, say you only put on like a few pounds of muscle, which takes a long time to do, then you're only burning what, like 18 extra calories, something like that. So it's not like this cheat code for being able to eat whatever you want. I think that gets misconstrued a lot. Like people think like, oh, because I'm, working out so much, I'm, building muscle, I can eat so much more. And that's not entirely true. So I think what happens is people, they end up eating more, but then they just end up gaining fat. I mean, it helps them build muscle for sure, but you don't need to overeat to build muscle. That has been both in my experience and also just, again, it's the information's out there from other trainers, other people will tell you, you don't have to overeat to build muscle. So that can happen, when you start lifting weights and you are either consciously or unconsciously eating more, because that is the other thing too, I've noticed in my experience, I feel like almost lifting weights makes me hungrier even more than cardio sometimes, because it just feels more intense for my body. So it is more easier for me to overeat. And then, you overeat and maybe you are building muscle, but you're not losing fat, you might be gaining fat. And so you look bulkier. Whereas I think, the ideal when we think of fitness models and having muscle, when people are talking about, muscle makes you leaner, it does, but only if you are at a very low body fat percentage. So you have to put that into consideration too. Muscle will make you look leaner and it will add more shape, but it's only gonna be able to show through unless you also lose the weight, unless you're at a very low body fat percentage. Another reason why I think building muscle or lifting weights can make you look bulky has to do with inflammation. And this is actually temporary. So I've noticed, again, just my personal experience, when I'm lifting weights a lot, doing a lot of strength training, and I get that kind of like bulky, puffy feeling. A lot of that is inflammation, because remember, your body has to break down everything first before it can build it back up again. And that can cause you to retain a lot of water. It can just cause like inflammation. That's what it is, right? It just makes you puffier. So I think when some women start lifting weights and they see that initially, you may even gain weight on the scale too. I definitely do. It's so funny because some people are like, oh, I always lose weight right after a workout. And I'm like, even with cardio, I gain weight after a workout, no matter how much I sweat. I think it's just because it's inflammation. It's your body trying to, repair itself. So I think a lot of women might freak out over that. What I will say is, like, again, as long as you are eating the same, you're not overeating, you're watching your calories, then that is likely all it is. It's just inflammation. And then after a few days or a week or whatever, that will go away. And then you will be left with like the slimmer, like lean physique that I think we're all going for.
Okay, this is future me, or I guess present me. I don't know. I filmed this video a few months ago. So whatever, this is just a quick update from me now. This first one here is from the Victoria's Secret Model Body Challenge. The picture on the left is right after I finished this challenge. And this challenge, for those of you who follow me, it was basically I was lifting weights every single day and doing cardio every single day. And I actually did this workout challenge kind of twice in a row. I think I told you guys I did it for 3 weeks, and then I did it again for a full month. So I kind of did it back to back. So I thought I would just show the difference. So on the right is me after I officially lost the 35 pounds. I was 125 pounds on the right, and that was just through doing, I guess, my normal training, which did include some weights, but mostly a lot of cardio. And then again, on the left was me after the Victoria's Secret Model Body Challenge, and I was 128 pounds. So I thought, look, as you can see, there is not a huge difference between what I look like in both pictures, but I definitely see some differences. So I think this is a good example of when we're talking about the skinny fat and why people say you should weight train and that it can change the shape of your body. Because I think I definitely notice on the picture on the left, I think I do have more shape to my body. I think I do look a little bit leaner and just firmer. I'm also more tan on the picture on the left, so can't deny that. But I don't know. I mean, I see the difference. Like I said, it's not drastic. Again, this is just simply like a month and a half really of me being really consistent at working out with weights. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think I look better on the left than I do on the right, even though I'm actually a few pounds heavier on the left. And again, I think that just goes to show, what we mean when we say that muscle takes up less space. It weighs the same as fat, but it takes up less space. So that's why some people may be, what we would consider a heavy weight, but still look really good. It's because it takes up less space in their body. And so it just gives your body more shape. This is just another picture from, different lighting, different angles, but again, I don't know, I see probably the biggest difference in my stomach. I think it looks a lot more toned and visible. I see it in my arms too. I feel like my shoulders really pop more. Even my legs a little bit. I feel like my legs have just a little bit more shape. Now in these pictures are after I did another workout challenge. Again, I did these challenges back to back. And this was the Caroline Gurvan challenge, which again, I did the first time I did it was 3 weeks, and then I officially did it for 1 month. And this challenge was a lot more weightlifting, even more, and lifting heavier for me. And this was around the time I definitely noticed yeah, I mean, lifting weights makes me hungry. I found it really kind of hard to regulate my appetite. And I did gain weight during this time, weight that I'm still, I want to get off now. Not a ton of weight, right? But I did gain some weight, more than I wanted to. I do think some of it was muscle. I think you can tell in this picture. This is on this day, actually, when I took these photos, I felt kind of bulky. And I'm not saying I look like a man or anything, but I think you can definitely tell in my arms, maybe even a little bit my stomach. I felt like my stomach looked a little bit wider in these pictures. Where, yeah, I mean, I do have that when I talk about the bulky, effect. I think it is both a little bit of muscle plus probably some fat that I gained and maybe some inflammation from just working out so much. I was not taking a lot of rest days. I want to show you these examples. Again, this is just my experience, okay? And what happened to me after I, trained a certain way. This is in no way to really discourage anyone. If anything, I mean, I think it is to encourage you to lift weights if you want to change your body shape. But also, like, if you know the bulking effect like that some women feel and talk about, like, yeah, it is real. It doesn't have to be permanent. I mean, for sure, like I said, I will say later in this video, like, inflammation in your diet really plays a big part. But anyway, I just thought I would show you guys these examples for reference.
And as far as how fast you can build the muscle, yeah, I mean, to look like a bodybuilder, for sure, you have to do that for years, right? That takes a long time. But I think that you can build muscle in a relatively short amount of time. Again, it depends on what your goals are. If you are just super consistent at it, I mean, I think just in the Victoria's Secret model challenge that I did, like a month of pretty much working out with weights every single day, definitely noticed a difference. There was definitely some change. So it can happen quicker than you think. And as far as do you need to lift heavy weights versus like lighter weights, more repetitions? You know, I don't know. I feel like that has been another age-old debate. Some people will say that, oh, to stay skinny and build lean muscle, you have to lift really light weights and do lots of repetitions, whereas, you know, lifting heavier weights will make you bulkier and bigger. But then other people will say like, oh, but lifting light weights, that doesn't do anything for you, no matter how many repetitions you do. So again, in my experience, I have done a little bit of both. I like lifting heavier sometimes with certain moves, like with legs, for example, especially like deadlifts. But for certain things like arms and stuff, I lift lower just because that's what works for me. That's what feels better. And I have still seen a difference doing both methods. You know, I think either way you're building muscle, because whether you are doing a lot of repetitions with light weights, you're still working your muscle. It still has to rebuild itself to repair. So you're still getting stronger. And as far as, you know, okay, lifting too heavy will make you too bulky. Again, I don't think that's necessarily true either, because it's still doing the same thing. But the difference is that if you lift heavier, you will build that muscle faster than you would if you lifted lighter. You know what I mean? Because it's going to take you a lot longer to do 20 reps of one move than it is for you to do, you know, like 8 reps of one move, but with heavier weights. So ultimately, I think it really comes down to what you want to do for your body and what makes sense for you. You know, look, if you want to try weights, but you are scared because you think it's going to make you look bulky, I mean, I would say just try it. If it does make you look bulky, then just stop. That's all. Again, my experience has only been pretty positive with it. And if there are times where I feel like, okay, something is getting a little bit too big, like for me, like my quads, like I have thick thighs, right? So I gain muscle in my thighs pretty quickly, especially quads. And that is because like, yeah, you use your quads to do every kind of leg move basically. So when I feel like that's getting too big, then I just lay off like the heavy weights for a while, at least for that movement, right? Maybe just do body weight stuff or just don't do certain moves. So, you know, yeah, that's all. You don't have to stop it completely. But it also just really depends on what your ideal physique is and what you're going for. I mean, I will say, again, just from my own experience, that probably a lot of the physiques that we idolize, like even the Victoria's Secret models, I think that they do a lot more strength training and resistance training probably than you would think. For example, like, okay, like the Pilates princess bodies, a lot of like the fitness trainers we see that do these Pilates workouts, you know, they'll tell you like, oh, the Pilates is all I do, blah, blah, blah. And that may be true now, but I guarantee you that many of them, especially if they were fitness trainers or whatever, many of them that may be what they do now, that's not how they got that body, okay? A lot of them did other things before. They worked out with weights. They were, you know, I don't know, they were athletes in other areas of their life using their muscles in a different way. So they have that muscle memory, you know, so they have built up their muscle and their lean mass a long time ago. So yeah, they might maintain it now by doing just Pilates, but I think if you are starting from ground zero, like you've never had muscle mass, you've never had lean mass because you were like me and you grew up fat, then I think it's going to take more aggressive forms of weight training and resistance training to get to even their level, even though they look like they're skinny. Like I think Candice Swanepoel is a good example. Like obviously she's phenomenal shape and she does a whole bunch of stuff, but she said mostly her workouts are like walking and Pilates and yoga. But she was also a professional ballerina for 14 years before she became a model. So that's something to remember too. Like, no, being a ballerina isn't like lifting weights and being a bodybuilder, but you have to be in incredible shape for that. Like actually dancers have some of the best bodies because they are super strong, because it's a ton of core work, it's a ton of leg work. So she did not get that body just by doing Pilates. Like a lot of her body came from being a ballerina for 14 years. So yeah, that's all I gotta say as far as that goes. Like, if your ideal body is to look like Candice Swanepoel or is to look like, I don't know, like a Pilates princess, they probably have more lean muscle mass than you think. And if you are starting from ground zero, then the fastest way to get there would probably be to lift weights. That being said, it's not necessary. I mean, it depends on where you're at now and what your goals are. Like, some of you might not even want Candice Swanepoel's muscle. I mean, I can't imagine who wouldn't want to look like her, but like, I get it. Some of you are more like, I want to look like the pretty Victorian, like super thin girl. That's fine too, you know, as long as you're doing it in a healthy way. I would say then for you, if that's your goal, then yeah, it's going to be diet and maybe cardio. You know, cardio doesn't really add any more muscle tone to your body, at least not in my experience. And I was doing like long distance running versus sprinting, which I think is different. Anyhow, guys, that's all I have for you today. That's just my 2 cents. I'm sure everyone's experience is a little bit different. I can only speak from my experience and my own observations, but I just hope this is helpful for, I guess, anyone who had that same question. I know there is a lot of confusion about what women should do to get the perfect body. And again, I think it just ultimately comes down to you and what works best for your body. Like, just because so-and-so does Pilates every day and walks a couple times a week and she looks amazing, doesn't necessarily mean that if you do that, you will look just like her. You know, you might have to do something different. So that's all. Just find what works for you. And if whatever you're doing isn't working, try something else. Anyhow, guys, thank you for watching. If you like this video, then please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And I will see you guys next time.